This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. This might seem comical to most, but this is an important video about our celebrity influencers. And most people out there in the beginning, when I started my channel, would always say, oh, I don't know why he's covering these celebrities. Well, the reason the world is in the shape it is because of the celebrities, because they're the ones who have influenced the behavior of our society. They're the ones who have used their communist mindset to infiltrate the Communist Manifesto onto the citizens in this country who are now demanding it to destroy the current government, which has worked for all these years, which now no longer works according to them. But why it really doesn't work is because these people elect themselves and never leave office or power because the elections are not real. But they have infiltrated our society at every single level, and they've influenced our society at every single level. So the reason that we have all of this crazy crap going on in our schools, all this crazy crap that's being accepted, and then, of course, the censorship on people like me and you is because of the celebrities. And, of course, now with Agenda 2030 getting nearer and nearer, we know that they need to grab the guns. It is extremely important. And you have to see this clip of Katy Perry on American Idol because they know that they get a large audience, millions of people watch it. They're going to start putting this type of propaganda in these shows. So they're going to have a character who, this is the situation on the show, they have a character or a person, wink, wink, who was part of one of the psyops at the schools. And of course, he's on American Idol now, and he's a hero because he was in one of the schools, and they're going to push him and promote him so they could beat this into people's heads every single week through repetition. Remember, the key to mind control is repetition and pattern. So Katy Perry, of course, has one of the worst acting breakdowns you will ever see, which I'm about to show you, crying about how America has failed us because of guns, when in reality, all they're trying to do is push the Communist Manifesto onto society, and they have to have the guns in order to turn this into a communist country, which is what we're headed towards. They might call it socialism, ladies and gentlemen, but it is communism, and that's why you see liberals worshiping government above everything else. The destruction of family and the worship of government. Now, before I get into that, Katy Perry at one point dated Russell Brand. Or married, I believe. One of the two. Nobody really cares. But I want to bring this up because I have another channel, a new channel, where I upload new content. I barely have any subs over there compared to this channel, which is a big channel. This channel is demonetized, shadow banned. Nobody sees it. I can't reach new people. The reason for it is people like Russell Brand. The government planted these people like Ben Shapiro, Russell Brand, in as right-wing truthers who are here to give truth. And they got rid of all the old guard, which includes me, or they've tried to get rid of me. I've continued to fight and battle, but nobody's joining me in fighting this battle. People stay here on this channel. They watch occasionally. If you want my content, if you want to know what's really going on, please subscribe to my new channel below, A Time to Uprise. I need more people over there. We need to build this out. We need to get the truth out to people. The only way I can reach new people is if more people follow, more people thumbs up the videos, and more people interact on the videos. I know you guys are out there. I know, it's not a lot to ask for people to sub to it. Is it frustrating for me? Yeah, it's frustrating. Is it annoying for you? Yeah, it's annoying. This is what we have to deal with to get the truth out. Otherwise, the truth is going to be put out there and manufactured through people like Russell Brand. Russell Brand, who Katy Perry is one of the biggest Satanists out there, was with Katy Perry. Not to mention Russell Brand at one point happened to be dating a Rothschild. Oh my goodness. Because us regular people, we would come in contact and date a Rothschild. How much more corrupt and controlled do you need to be? I mean, Russell Brand is not a truther. So this is what they've done. They have taken truthers down, and they've allowed channels like Russell Brand to grow into millions and millions and millions, talk about this similar topics, but never dive into the secret societies of Freemasonry, Satanism, and all that stuff. Never promote Jesus Christ. They promote spirituality, right? Russell Brand promotes that. He's got 33 tattooed on his wrist, and then he wants to use humor to pretend like, oh, we're all crazy for thinking he's a Freemason. Of course he is. A Rothschild wouldn't even rub shoulders, let alone have a conversation with you, let alone sleep with you, unless you were one of them, okay? Those people all emerged in the scene as the majority of us were thrown off of YouTube. I'm one of the last ones here still fighting. There's a few others, obviously. But we continue to get suppressed. So please subscribe to my other channel. And if you haven't joined the website at callforanuprising.com, I highly recommend it. I have a new video up about the whole Wuhan situation. Okay, why are they coming out now and starting to talk about the Wuhan lab leak? This is a controlled leak. This is a controlled narrative. It has nothing to do with what actually occurred. If you don't understand what actually occurred, join the website. I can't talk about vaccines over here on YouTube. Why? Why is it that other people can, but I can't? Because I don't push the mainstream narrative of big pharma and all that stuff. I don't push the narrative of the Wuhan lab leak and the bats and all that. That is all propaganda. It would never be out there unless they wanted it to be out there. It's a controlled narrative. So that's on the website along with a lot of great stuff on the forum. I'm sick of having to advertise about the website. I'm not mad and frustrated at any of you. I'm just beyond disgusted with YouTube. You should see the emails that they've sent me about why my channels have gotten deleted. Most recently, I had 2 deleted in 2 weeks. Other than this one, for those of you that don't know, I have had like 39 channels now. Oh, it's because I'm bullying Satanists. I mean, the stuff they come up with is absolutely incredible. Yet, there's about 1 million videos on YouTube making fun of me, calling me a psycho, crazy, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't care less about it. But, you know, they don't get suppressed for bullying. But when I call out the occult, I get suppressed. And that is one of the reasons that they don't want me around here, is showing you what's really at the core, the secret societies and everything else that I show and expose, compared to the people who are pushing the narratives that the mainstream media want you to push. So the links are below. Please, at the very least, subscribe to the other channel. Now let's get into Katy Perry. Grabbing the guns is crucial to this agenda. In fact, it's the most important thing, because an unarmed country leaves you pretty much defenseless against what is going on here, what is coming. And what you see right now is nothing compared to what's coming next with Agenda 2030, with getting people into smart cities, with military state, et cetera, all the things that you hear liberals wanting, because most of them are brainwashed and brain dead. Now we're dealing with a society where they want to grab your guns, and they come out with a narrative. You've heard Joe Biden say, oh, well, if you think you're going to defend yourself against our government, where they're literally pretty much saying that they realize that people are staying armed because they don't trust the government, which is the reason that people are armed in the first place. So they create all these psyops at schools and everywhere else, at grocery stores, places where you could relate to actually going, like grocery stores, concerts, malls, right? They pick the same places because they want you to worry about, oh, your kid's going there. Are you going there? So they want you to be in on the gun reform, which is really just the red flag laws, which is to take guns away from people like me and you. So get a load of Katy Perry, because this is such a plant story. It's one of the most obvious I've ever seen. This is a guy on American Idol. Listen to his story, then listen to Katy Perry's horrible breakdown of crying emotionally, and of course Lionel Richie. And I'll show you their connection to Freemasonry and the occult right after it. But take a look at this.
How are you doing, Idol?
In May 2018, a gunman walked into my school. I was in art room 1, and he shot up art room 2 before he made his way to art room 1. Lost a lot of friends. 8 students were killed. 2 teachers were killed. And it's just really been negative, man. Santa Fe's had a bad rap here since 2018. What you doing, Katy?
Our country has failed us.
Facts.
This is not okay. You should be singing here because you love music.
It's true.
Not because you had to go through that.
I agree.
You didn't have to lose 8 friends. I hope that you remind people that we have to change. Because you know what? I'm scared too.
It's terrible, Katy. It's horrible.
We have tolerated this for so long, for too long. It's become a norm.
That we've got to change.
True. I agree.
And I hope you can just lead. You do
For
me that
myself,
favor?
for my school, for you.
Thank
you got
you.
it. It's
Oh man, that was so inspiring. Katy, so inspiring. Inspiring me actually to change my plans this afternoon to go make sure I have more stockpile of ammo. You know what I mean? I mean, this stuff is so over the top, and it's so obvious as to what they're doing. Now, Katy Perry's been a satanic puppet for a long period of time, right? We've known this. We've seen the music videos Dark Horse. We've seen all the Egyptian crap, the all-seeing eye stuff. I mean, she's literally got album covers with all-seeing eye in her mouth. She wears it on her outfit. It could be more obvious. Sometimes people are like, oh, you're just kind of picking here at certain things. Could this be more obvious? Every single symbol I've exposed on this channel, for those of you who have been here over the years, or even those of you who are checking in who haven't watched a long time, you remember I exposed all this stuff. She ties into every single symbol that there is. We've got the bird cage, right? We got the butterfly, showing that she's a mind-controlled zombie, mind-controlled slave of the elites. And what their job is to push these agendas as influencers. So when Katy Perry goes on TV and does this, and Lionel Richie does this, they're pushing the agendas that for the New World Order. This is their job. This is how they stay famous. This is how they stay untouched. And this, again, These people are going to pay, not just on Judgment Day, but when crap hits the fan, we know that these people all have underground bunkers. They all have underground homes. They don't want you to know that. Some of them come out and admit it like idiots. So that's something on the website that we're going to talk about more and more, and on my other channel. So make sure you subscribe to both so that we can start locating where these underground things are for when crap hits the fan, because that's where they're storing food. That's where they're storing water, right? And that's where they think they're going to be safe and protected, but they're not going to be, because they're the ones who are going to be responsible for what's coming, and Katy Perry's one of them. So all of a sudden in the history of our country, which 10 years ago seemed fine, 20 years ago seemed fine, 30 years ago seemed fine, I'm sure there's little problems here and there. Now suddenly we're living again in the 1910s where racism runs rampant. Apparently black people can't work. Apparently women don't have any rights. Apparently. They've convinced all the zombies out there of this. They're completely brainwashed, completely brain dead. And now this government doesn't work. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of this government, but the structure of the government, if it wasn't infiltrated and corrupt, does work. It's been proven through time, right? But the problem is that the people in the Senate, the people in the House, they never leave. Like the Chuck Schumers of this world, these corrupt scumbags, they never leave, okay? That's part of the problem. And the other part of the problem is that the elections aren't real. It's a seesaw of emotions. All it is a psyop. We go to Trump, we go to Biden. We have two of the furthest, Obama, Trump, Biden. Think about how far to the left and far to the right and far to the left. This is to drive people nuts, to want civil unrest, to want change, okay? And then you mix in all the psyops that they've done, and, well, it's pretty easy to see what's going on here. And then you have Katy Perry and all these celebrities talking about how we need a new government. They're talking about a communist government, the same thing that our country has fought against for all these years. Now we embrace it and want it because communism has always, in a way, infiltrated Hollywood, infiltrated our government. The reason that all these celebrities have the same viewpoint is because they're all CIA operatives. Believe it or not, they've all been trained by the Central Intelligence Agency. They know how to act, talk, they know what to say, and they all have the same bullet points. That's why they all agree. I mean, don't you think it's a little bit weird? There's like 3 actors in Hollywood that don't support this stuff. And of course, they have to have a few out there who act like they're Christian or act like they're not a part of this. Why? Because then people might get a little suspicious as to why 99.9% of celebrities all have the same agendas and all push the same thing. Right? So we see all these signs and symbols of Katy Perry, not to mention cannibalism in her music videos, not to mention one of my favorites is she has this like utopian theme park where you can see humans running in the wheel. This is one of the things I always reference, right? Because that's the whole American concept they've created now. They try to have you chase all these things like fame and fortune and celebrity. Well, that's fame, but they try to have you chase all these things, and you're just a mouse in a wheel. They know you can never achieve any of that stuff because you're not a part of the same secret societies that they are. And even if you try to become one, you're not bloodline related to these people. This is a controlled thing, okay? Nobody's ever getting there. So when you chase these things and you don't achieve it, it leads to depression, suicide, failure, and pretty much just people's lives, chasing things they should never be chasing in the first place, nor thrive to have. And then they lead miserable existences. And they are always these people are led away from God, of course, because they're chasing, fame, prosperity here on earth. They're chasing worldly things. That's what they want people to chase. So hopefully you're still listening at this point, because this part's even funnier, because some of you are like Lionel Richie. Remember his daughter, Nicole Richie, I think her name was? She was like on The Simple Life with Paris Hilton. Lionel Richie. You're probably saying, why is Lionel Richie even on the show? Did anyone even know Lionel Richie was really famous? Well, Lionel Richie had like maybe 1 or 2 songs, Hello, in the 80s. I mean, stuff that is completely irrelevant now. But Lionel Richie, of course, was also very choked up and emotional about gun control. And conveniently, just like Katy Perry wearing her black and white checkerboard outfit, like you saw, Lionel Richie is also a part of secret societies. Here's pictures of Lionel Richie in a Masonic hall. Here's Lionel Richie. You could see. I mean, can you make it up? You can find this on every one of these people. People just realize what they're trying to do. Right? They're making good men better. Actually, they're making all men and women enslaved. So he's a member of the Lewis Adams Prince Hall Lodge number 67. You could see photos of him, his Masonic garb. I actually can't even make fun of the stuff they wear anymore because these are the types of strikes that I get for bullying, which is pretty incredible. Because if I really wanted to bully some of these people, some of these specific groups of people, I could bully them off a cliff if I wanted to. So they think that me bullying is making fun of their wardrobes and things like that. But they've put it in the fine print of the community guidelines so that they can take channels like mine down for making fun of secret societies, which should not exist in our world. I mean, these types of secret societies were run out of, just like a certain group of people were run out of every country because of what they were trying to do. And now we've empowered them and allowed them. If you're not familiar, Freemasonry is in every town in America. If it's not in your town, like I always say, it's in the next town. There's a lodge. You can see on your highway, if you pay attention now, there's always signs that let you know where the Freemason Lodge is. This is so that they can communicate with each other if they're out of town, and they go visit their brothers in the lodge. They are all initiated with satanic doctrine, New World Order doctrine. This is all about Luciferian worship. They're told Lucifer's the god of this world. Albert Pike teaches it in his books. So, once they get past the third degree, for the most part, this is when they start learning this stuff. People under the third degree don't know. A lot of people actually try to escape around that point, when they have them in their underwear and they're holding swords up to their throats or putting them in coffins. These are all the types of rituals they go through. And of course, these are the types of rituals you will hear about from victims of trauma-based mind control. Satanic, the Satanists do this to children, that type of stuff. So Lionel Richie pushing the gun grab, Katy Perry pushing the gun grab. Don't be suspicious at all. They just care so much about everything going on in the schools. And of course, these aren't DMLAs, by the way. And that's another thing that most people don't understand, which I've explained for years and years and years. But if you haven't seen those videos or you're new to this, the DMLAs are the children. So they're young teens, they're youngsters, the Rainbow Girls, the Jehovah's Daughters. They're groomed by Freemasons and Eastern Star witches. The Eastern Star is the witch version. You can even see in their logo, it's the upside down pentagram, the same as the Satanists use. I mean, it's unbelievably how obvious this stuff is, but signs and symbols are in front of us and people don't see it. So anyway, they're initiated in these young youth groups and they're groomed by them. They use a lot of these kids in these events that occur, around the country in certain places. I can't say where because I got to be a little bit, you know what I'm talking about though, right? With the bang bangs. They use these children. They're plants. They're DMLAs. They're Job's daughters. That's what they're there for. They're horrible actors, just like these celebrities are pretty horrible actors. I mean, Katy Perry there, it's one of the worst performances I've ever seen. And I've seen some real bad ones. I've seen Troll 2. I've seen some good ones. Bad ones, I should say, but they're good ones if you like to cringe laugh. Pretty pathetic. The celebrities are now going to make a push for the guns, That is part of the agenda. There's like 20 agendas happening at once, and it's overwhelming for people to see. You're seeing your water supply tampered, your food supply being cut. These are things I'm talking about on the other channel. That's why you got to subscribe now if you haven't. These are things you need to know about because you need to prepare for what's coming. Trust me, you will regret it when you wake up and you have no water one day, or you wake up and the water's contaminated and you have to rely on the government to give you water, or you have no food and you have to rely on them to give you their soylent food, which is going to make you sicker and sicker. Subscribe to the other channel below and join the website. These are topics that need to be discussed and shared. They're extremely important. They're life altering. So those are things I'm talking about. But these are things that are going on now. People think it was just the outbreak, and they're suspicious of that. They want you to talk about Wuhan now. They don't want you to talk about the chemical bombs that are going off all around the country, poisoning water, poisoning air. They don't want to talk about Agenda 2030, which I have a video coming out on, talking about how by polluting the land and doing these types of things, the government has a right to come seize that land and throw you off the land. So in other words, if they have a huge train wreck outside, even 50 miles outside of where you live, and you own your home and it's paid off, and you don't even have a mortgage on it, the government has a right to come there and throw you out and say that this land is contaminated, we're seizing the land. These are parts of Agenda 2030 that are extremely crucial. And getting your guns is part of the reason, getting the guns is part of the agenda, which we all have known about for a long time. They create these events because they need to get people on board with this. And at the very least, they want red flag laws because they don't want civilians being armed and prepared to fight against these people who are trying to take everything that we have. They don't want you to own anything. Remember, you'll own nothing and be happy. That's what they say. These people out there are idiots. They're groomed by the government. They worship the government just like they worship their false idols in Hollywood. This is a war against the people and the citizens of all the countries out there. All the governments are doing this to their people. You see it in Brazil. You see it in Spain. I've covered that on my other channel. So please subscribe to the other channels. There's a lot going on. This is the most important time period. I did stuff and knowing what's going on because you need to be prepared however you could be prepared. This video is probably going to get taken down, as we all know. So make sure you subscribe now. And at the very least, yes, click subscribe and hit the notification bell, or I'll see you over on the website. I thank everyone who is over there. I appreciate you guys taking the time to join. Please do so now if you haven't. Thanks again. God bless you and your families.